Hey everyone, I've got a short yoga practice for you today that is intended to get your joints moving. We're going to be working at the bigger joints of the body, hips and shoulders, as well as doing a little work down into the feet. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to do all of these on the floor. Most of them I'm going to do in seated, and one I will do on all fours in a quadruped or tabletop position. If you want to be in a chair, some of these can be done in a chair or standing as well. So I will give some options as we go along if something different would work better for you. For the last movement that we do, I'm going to have a small ball here. It's just something that I can hold behind my knee as I'm moving the hip. It doesn't have to be this ball. You could wad up a thick pair of socks or a towel or something like that to hold behind your knee. So no need to have this specific object for that. I'm going to put that aside for now. We're going to take a moment just to settle into the body wherever you're at. Take a couple of breaths to just feel. Notice any sensations of discomfort, tightness, or pain. Anything else that might be going on in your body that's kind of grabbing your attention. Take a moment to be aware of your breathing. And to maybe see if you can slow your breathing down a little bit. And then we're going to start with the foot and ankle. So if being on the floor isn't working well for you, these first two movements can be done really well seated in a chair. We're going to do one foot at a time. So whichever foot you want to start with, you're going to take it out in front of you, and we're going to start with the toes. So you're going to think about spreading the toes a little bit on the floor, really feeling the connection in through the base of the big toe to the floor and the base of the pinky toe to the floor. And then we're going to see if we can lift one toe at a time, starting with the big toe. The second and third toes are the hardest to differentiate, so no worries if you can't, just see. And then we're going to see if we can get the fourth toe and the fifth toe off, spreading the toes at the top. And then as we bring the toes back down, pinky, fourth toe, third toe, second toe, and big toe. And we'll just go through that a few times. Just noticing what happens. No worries about those second and third toes. We just do what we can do. And the tissue for those toes is really interconnected. So if they're challenging to move separately, that's fine. I'm just working where we can work. Going slowly and deliberately. So you're starting to build a picture in your brain of how you can control these toes as they move. If this is really challenging to even get the toes moving, you can reach over and assist with your hand, and sometimes that's easier to do in a chair. So once you've done that, we're going to work in the ankle on the side, and then we're going to do the other foot. So when you're working in the ankle, you're going to bring your foot forward a bit more, coming up onto the heel and holding onto the lower leg here just to keep it in place. We're going to bring the top of the foot back towards the shin as much as you can. And then you're slowly going to turn it towards the midline of the body, going as far as you can, taking your time to really go along the edge of your range of motion. When you're coming to point the toes the other direction, again, you're going along the edge. Now, sometimes we can get some cramping, especially if this is the first time you've done this. So go easy if you're feeling that. Often that will go away once your body figures out what you want here. And this is another one. If it is not working for you very well here on the floor, then you absolutely can do this in a chair. And in some ways, it's a little bit easier maybe for this movement. So we really want to go slowly where it's hard. Notice that sometimes that's where you want to go fast, kind of skip through those areas. But this is where we can stand to have a lot of benefit. Make sure that you go both directions as you do this. So when you're going the second direction, the other direction, the opposite direction, using the muscles a little differently. So you may find that is pretty similar in terms of the movement you can do, or you may find that something changes significantly when you switch directions here. So we're just working through that range of motion at the ankle. Now I'm just doing a few repetitions here as we go through this practice. You absolutely can do more, and perhaps should do more if you're really looking to create some change. So this video is intended as an introduction. As you figure out how these are, you might do even up to maybe 8 or 10 of each one and see how that feels in your body. So you may notice, having just done one leg, that things maybe feel a little different. So tuck in and see. And then we're going to switch to the other leg. So we're starting with the foot on the floor, connecting in through the base of the big toe and pinky toe, spreading the toes wide. And then lifting one at a time if you can. I got a little more differentiation on this side between 2 and 3. Not the end of the world either way. Not so much differentiation on this direction. So you're just seeing what's possible for you, right? Going slowly, seeing if you can develop that control and coordination. We're still staying connected down through the base of that big toe. And you can always reach down and assist with the fingers if that's helpful. So that's an option as well. Notice where you want to rush if you want to rush. That sometimes can be an indicator of what is going on. And I'm just helping with the spread a little bit here as well with my fingers, so that's something you can do. And then I'm going to take this foot a little further away from me. I'm going to come all the way up onto the heel and drawing the top of the foot towards the shin. Now I'm moving not so much through the toes, but really through the top of the foot. I'm going to go towards the midline first, just because we did that on the other side. Coming through the full range of motion. And remember, I'm holding on to the lower leg here to get some awareness of what the lower leg is doing. Keeping most of this movement at the ankle, so I'm letting the lower leg just kind of be. Definitely want to keep the hip out of it. So for some of us, we'll find that we're doing this movement by moving side to side at the hip. That's not so much what it's about. And remember, we're going to slow down here where it gets hard. Breathing and feeling. No need to be perfect, and then you can go the other way. So you're really working through that range of motion, slowing down and feeling. And we're feeling consciously, right, in our conscious awareness, but you're also kind of doing some mapping in your brain and sort of an unconscious level. So by moving in this way, your brain can kind of figure out where the parts of your body are in space, how they're relating to each other, and what kind of movement is possible. And then we're building the connection between the brain and the muscles to help control your movement. And that can be really helpful for improving how we feel. So when you're complete on this side, you can let this rest, just kind of notice how you feel. And then remember, if you want to move into more of these, please feel free to do so as well. Now, we're going to come into working with the side of the body here. So you're going to bring one hand down to the floor and just let yourself come over into a little bit of a side bend. Other arm, if it feels okay, is going to come up alongside the ear. We're going to take these first few breaths to just feel into this side bend. And then we're going to take this top arm and we're going to move it in a circle. And again, we're coming slowly and deliberately through the edges of your available pain-free range of motion. So sometimes it happens that we have pain when we move certain ways in the shoulder. So I want to be really clear that I'm not asking you to move into pain. I'm asking you to go slowly enough that you can kind of come around the edges of the movement where it's difficult, whether that difficulty is from the sensation or simply the ability to move and control the movement, right? So we're really going slowly, kind of mapping the edges of what's possible, paying a lot of attention as we come through those areas of challenge, particularly. And then you're going to go the other direction as well. So same thing as you go the other way, you may notice a different experience as you're moving through the edges of that range of motion. Just exploring. And then notice the relationship too with the elbow and the hands and the wrist, right? So there's some effort, even though these movements are really slow. There may well be some effort involved as we're doing them. And so you're just paying attention to how that feels. And when you're done on that side, you can release. Notice what you feel. You may notice some changes in how you perceive your body side to side. And then we're going to bring the other hand down. If this arm can comfortably come up, we're going to come in, feel into a little bit of a side bend first. Find what the breathing feels like here, and then we're going to find that big circle here. So going slowly. Paying attention to the edges of your pain-free range of motion. Taking your time, especially where things are a little challenging. So whether you're kind of mapping around some pain or just feeling into what is the edge really of what is possible for me today. And you may notice that this changes day to day or moment to moment, and that it relates to what's going on, right? So it relates to maybe how you're using your body, stress levels, quality of sleep, who knows? Lots of possible variables. When you're ready, you're going to go the other way as well. And just feeling into what are the edges of the available movement here. This side may be totally different from the other side. Asymmetry is fairly normal. And there's not necessarily a good shoulder and a bad shoulder, although certainly it can feel that way sometimes. Both shoulders are doing the best they can. And allowing your brain to have a better map can be really, really helpful as you're working in both of those shoulders. So when you're done, you're going to come out. I'm going to give your shoulders a chance to settle and just notice what you feel as you do that. So this next one, we're going to come onto all fours if that's available to you. The particular hip movement that we're doing could be done in standing. When you're in standing, you do have to balance on one leg, and sometimes that can make it a little bit harder. So feel free to hold on to something if you want to do that in standing as well. That's great. And this is the one where this is going to work best if you have something you can hold behind the knee that's of the leg that's moving. So you're going to come onto all fours. You can pad your knees if you want to. You can come up onto your fists or turn your hands out or whatever is helpful. I'm going to put this ball behind my right knee for right now. And I'm just going to hold that there. And I'm getting connected through all the 4 points that are on the floor. And then this is the hip that's moving, the one that's holding the ball. So I'm going to do a big circle with this hip. Knee comes in. Knee goes way out to the side. Back. And around. I'm doing my best to keep my pelvis still as I am moving this leg. So, you know, if we're lifting up the whole pelvis to bring the leg around, that's a little different than mapping the range of motion that you have in this hip. And go both ways, right? Again, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to do a few in each direction here. You could do more. And the more you can slow this down, especially as you come through the areas that are challenging for you, the better. So once you've done one side, you can release the ball. You can either be on all fours or come off of all fours to check in, and then we're going to come to the other side. So ball goes behind the knee, or towel, or whatever you're holding there behind your knee. I'm going to connect through all 3 other points, and then we're going to find that same circle here with this hip. So I'm trying to keep the pelvis relatively still as I go. So not so much lifting or dropping the hip as I am finding the movement of that thigh bone in the hip socket. Range of motion on this side is quite different for me. And again, asymmetry is fairly normal. We're going to go both directions. Remember to slow down intentionally where it's hard. And it can almost feel like you're pushing through something thicker than air here. As you're really finding the edges, it's effortful. That said, we're still breathing. And when you're complete on this side, you can release that ball. Find a position where you can hang out in for a moment, just noticing how you feel. And then you might come back to your starting position. Checking in again, just seeing what feels different. Got some movement through the bigger joints of the body, got a few of the smaller joints moving. We could continue this with all the joints. However, for the purposes of this video, we're going to pause here and just notice how you feel. And if it felt good to get some of these joints moving, you might want to do a few more repetitions and do this regularly and see what changes in your body when you practice this way over a period of time. If you have any questions, I'd love it if you shared them in the comments. And I also would love to hear how this went for you. What did you notice when you moved this way? So please feel free to share that with me. I'd love to hear it. And I hope you enjoy exploring this kind of movement. Feel free to take this wherever you like. Thanks for practicing with me today. And may we all be balanced and well. Thank you so much.